Hi there, I'm Chef Bill. I'm a chef instructor at the Culinary Institute of America in California. Today I'm here in New York and we're going to fry some falafel. Now, the falafel's not the important part. The important part for me is making sure that you learn how to fry safely. So, first thing I would say, make sure that your station or your kitchen is organized. You don't have a lot of clutter, because clutter leads to confusion, and confusion then leads to catastrophe, and nobody needs that. So a nice orderly area. You need a pot to fry in. If it can be a heavy pot, that's a nice idea because it distributes heat very, very evenly. The oil that you fry in should be something that's designed to withstand high heat. So every fat has its own smoke point, which tells you when it begins to break down. This is canola oil, and canola oil has a smoke point up around 425 degrees, and I'm going to be frying right around 350. No problems there. But if this were instead whole butter would be burning right now. It would be smoking and it would be a horrible mess. So choosing the right fat is a good idea. Canola oil, corn oil, most of the vegetable oils, maybe you have a fondness for frying in a solid shortening or lard or bacon fat. All of those things can work, but I think a vegetable oil like this is a good choice. I need some contingency for manipulating the food, and so I've got a skimmer like this that is open to allow the fat to drain off. That's exactly what you want. If I take a spoon and go in here, now I've got a spoonful of hot oil. That can be a problem. This is up to temperature right now. It's been on the heat probably for 15 minutes. And I have a thermometer that tells me that it's at about 355 degrees. That's just right. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But if I did not have a thermometer, how would I tell? Well, if you take a little piece of bread, a little crumb of bread, a little cube of bread, and throw it in there, it should immediately start to bubble and sizzle, and within 45 seconds it should be golden brown and ready to come out. If it cooks faster than that, the fat is too hot. If it takes longer to brown than about 45 seconds, then it's too cool. You'll also notice that the oil begins to creep around in the pan a little bit, begins to move. If you ever see the oil smoke, and this is not steam I'm talking about, but gray smoke, that's too hot and you should turn it down immediately. It's not a bad idea if you're frying to have something like this pan right here that you could put on top, or maybe the lid from the pan. If this were to ever catch fire, the easiest way to deal with a fire is to put a lid on and starve that fire from oxygen. So a lid on, turn the burner off, and everything's right with the world. The last little admonition I'm going to throw your way, and then we'll fry some falafel. If you notice, this pan is less than half full. When I put food in there, it's going to bubble and seethe, and it will grow. So you don't want it any more than half full, otherwise you may experience the oil sort of spilling out. So here, I'm going to lower this in. Make sure that you're careful not to throw it haphazardly and splash oil either on yourself or even worse on someone else. And make an effort not to overload the pan, not to put too much food in there at once. Otherwise, it won't be able to maintain the appropriate temperature. So I think that's about right. I'm just going to move these around a little bit, make sure that they don't stick, but I can't imagine that being a problem. The moisture in the falafel actually begins to boil as soon as it hits this hot fat, and it's that expression of steam as that water turns to steam that sort of pushes it away from all the sides and causes the oil to bubble up like this. Now, as you're frying, it's not a bad idea to evaluate how things are coming along. I can see a little bit of golden color. One thing I would not do is once this is in, I would not go anywhere. I would not do anything else. This is your job. So you stay here, you don't leave here, and Only when the food is out and the fire is turned off and maybe even a lid put on top do you consider walking away. It might not even be a bad idea to move this off the stove in the event that somebody else comes and inadvertently turns it on. When you're choosing things to fry, be very, very careful if you have a high moisture item, something with a lot of water in it. That water will react almost explosively with the hot fat. The standard way of preventing water from getting into the fat is to bread things. So if you bread a cutlet, it keeps the water on the inside so that it can't escape into the fat and create problems for you. These falafel look great. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to make a point of turning this off so that there's no chance that this will keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter. You know, while I'm thinking of it, when you're all done frying, your job is not over. The oil is hot for a long time. So first, let it cool down. And then once the oil is cool, if it's clean, you can reuse it again. I would filter it through a coffee filter, and you can store it in the same container it came out of. Sooner or later, the oil will start to foam when you heat it up. It'll be very dark, at which point it's time to discard it. Again, cool it down. Don't try and put it into a container while it's hot, and then dispose of it properly. This issue right here is too important not to address. So if you like the idea of falafel, it comes with a certain responsibility. And that responsibility is to fry safely. If you do this, you get that.